What's up, everybody? This is Sam with Not Another Film Review, and this week, me and the crew are taking on the one and only The Batman. Directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson, Paul Dano, Zoë Kravitz, many more. We're gonna get into heavy spoilers, so if you haven't seen it yet, go watch the movie, come back, and check it out. Let's get into it. Alright guys, you just walked out of the movie theater. What are you feeling from this movie?
Honestly, I thought it was a really good movie. It was different than a traditional Batman, and overall, with the score, the music, the way it makes you feel, and the length, it was definitely a movie you should at least see once, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a different type of Batman movie, but I'm glad they did that. They didn't just redo stuff over again. When I saw this, it felt like I was almost watching Batman for the first time again. Like, I saw a different side of him, so I'm really glad they went a different route, show us a new storyline. Because that's, when it comes to a movie, I'm just really focused on, what story are you bringing? Mm-hmm. So I really like that.
Yeah, I loved it. I thought it was an excellent movie. I really enjoyed how small scale it felt, where it felt like I was a bystander in like each room with Batman as he was solving the riddles or trying to figure out what next clue the Riddler did leave for him. And I just really loved the world that Matt Reeves built with Gotham. It felt so lived in. It felt so authentic. It felt like a real city, and not just, they filmed it in Chicago and it was like, that's Chicago. Like, it felt like its own place.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I felt like I was on the crime scene, like watching them solve the crime.
You're a citizen of Gotham.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Standing behind the tape.
Yeah, it felt like I was
The
there.
whole cinematography had some of the most amazing lighting. It was good in every aspect. The dark scenes were perfectly dark. The light scenes were perfectly light. It's just well done.
It seemed as well as they like filmed it in natural light, which like I know they didn't because you're indoors and you need lighting, but it felt like natural.
Very good point. I think y'all all make excellent points. I think it is a very personable movie. I think it's very different from the Batman movies that we have known in the past. I think the cinematography and the lighting is excellent as well. I appreciated how like you said, Fonzie, small scale it is. My feeling I got from it was that it was a very excellent movie in itself as an investigative, as a thriller action movie, to the point where I almost forgot that I was watching a Batman movie or a superhero movie nonetheless. And I really appreciated that because I was, literally in the theater be like, oh, like this is technically a superhero movie. And I think we're so enthralled by like, the Marvels and like all these, the Justice Leagues, like all these big action like superhero movies. This was a very great twist on what is, a popular and very like quintessential character and story and everything. So
it was definitely a breath of fresh air, and it felt like Batman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it felt like the more intimate, personal look into Batman and all.
Because he doesn't have powers, people forget he's just a guy, man.
What did y'all think about them not opening the movie with Xander going into the alleyway, his parents getting killed, all that? This was maybe one of the first Batman movies we've seen that didn't have the beginning story arc unfold in the beginning of the movie. What did y'all think of that? Did you like that? Did you not like it?
I mean, I loved it just because, we all know Bruce Wayne's origin at this point. Like, if you don't, then you just don't like Batman, and that's okay. Like, the movie's not for you, but I don't think we need, like, I liked how they touched on it and mentioned it, but we didn't need to see it again. Like I said, we've all seen it. We know what happens, and I liked how they played more in the psychology of how that messes up a kid as he grows up with his parents getting killed right in front of him. I really felt that we understood his mindset throughout the movie versus just bringing it up and him like frowning in other Batman movies. You know, like we actually could see how dark and twisted this guy was and how it kind of inspired him to become Batman. So.
Yeah, I love how basically you really don't touch up on Bruce Wayne at all. This is a Batman movie, and you see Batman just be Batman. It doesn't even really focus on who he is. It's like, this is Batman. You know who he is. This is what he's going through.
Yeah.
I really liked that. I thought it was really cool how, you barely even touched on Bruce Wayne. This is because he's gone through that traumatic experience. He's no longer Bruce Wayne technically. He's Batman.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson did an excellent job at. The target audience is definitely people that like Batman. They know the whole story. So he did an excellent job at just getting right into it. You know that Batman has been Batman for 2 years, and he's already established the way he solves crimes, the way he combats crime, the way he deals with. He's already had that made up. He is Batman in his persona. He never had to figure those things out, and it's cool to see a movie just jump right into it.
And so going into this point, this second year Batman, still an inexperienced Batman. Like, we know who he is. He knows who he is at this point, but we see the inexperience. We see the immaturity of this particular Batman with, he messes up the wingsuit jump by hitting the bus. He stalls out the Batmobile the first time that it's like, that's brought up in the movie and everything like that. We have these little nuances that show he's still very much, we know who he is, and that's why I like, they didn't show the origin. We all know the origin, but it's still a fresh Batman. He's still a new Batman. What did y'all think about bringing a completely new actor, completely new saga of Batman, showing the vulnerability of this one right off the bat? What did y'all think about that?
Well, like Ollie said, I thought he did great as Batman. I was kind of unsure, another actor, how's he going to do? But he's Batman. I thought he did great, and I love, so the little parts that you did see Bruce Wayne, he isn't the playboy. He's still kind of Batman. He's still got that dark
His focus
sense.
is excellent. He is focused 100% on the city and crime and solving the problem.
Yeah, he doesn't even want to be Bruce Wayne. He's just Batman. So even when he's not in the Batman suit, he's still got the eye makeup on with like that makeshift, just mask, and he's got a hat on, and he's like riding around on his bike, still looking for crime, even though he's still not in the suit. So he's like, he's literally like obsessed with being Batman.
He doesn't have time to do normal human things. He doesn't have time to shower all the time or look presentable. He's literally exhausted.
Yeah, he doesn't care about being a billionaire playboy. Like, it's not on his radar at all. He could care less.
Yeah, and that's what I found a very interesting contrast between, obviously, the Nolan series Batman, the Christian Bale Batman, who was obviously big playboy, billionaire philanthropist, and he let that be known. But this one, the social outings in which we did see this Bruce Wayne go into, you can tell very awkward, very unconfident, you can tell he didn't want to be there.
He's not comfortable in his own skin unless he's in
And at the same time, still a celebrity.
Yes.
Everybody's so excited to see him. But that makes sense. When you are literally, your family is the creators basically of Gotham, why it's such a big and profound city, you're going to be a celebrity no matter what type of person you are.
And that's what I loved about what the prequel novel did. Sam, I don't know if you could probably put a link like right here to a video.
Right there?
Yeah, right here.
Got it.
It really touches on like this dude is raised a celebrity, but like it harps on that he doesn't want to be in the spotlight whenever he's out in public. It's not an interest of his at all. Yeah. And like you said, you can see how uncomfortable he is and awkward. And it's just, he cannot drop being Batman, which I thought was something we had never seen before.
Yeah.
Like every other Batman movie, like with Christian Bale and Batman Begins, it's like he just knows what to do right off the top. It's like, I know how to be the stupid billionaire, but I also know how to be Batman, where it's like, that's not as realistic as this is. It's like,
It's very.
he's so into being Batman that he knows nothing else. Like, he's obsessed with it.
Yep.
So,
Stellar lineup, the cast and the crew here. We have, Robert Pattinson, Zoe Kravitz. We have Collin Farrell. We have Jeffrey Wright, Paul Dano. We have all these great actors. John Turturro. Let's start off with our main man, number one. How did Robert Pattinson do as Batman and as Bruce Wayne?
I think he played the physicality part tremendous. Like, I felt intimidated by him, and I really loved this part. It's kind of towards the end where, well, not even towards the end. It's kind of throughout the movie where like he harps on like, "I am the shadow," like, and like you see the criminals like look off into like a dark street, and they're just like, "Oh shit!" Like, he might be there. And I love the intimidation that he brought to being Batman. Like, and I also loved how silent he was. Because whenever somebody was like talking to him or asking, he would just look at him. And okay, yeah, you're good, you're Batman. I'll stop what I'm doing.
There's so many social cues in regular conversation with acting, and you have a person who's a vigilante, who's an introvert, who stays inside all day. If you're asking him, "Hey, what are you doing?" If you're a cop and you ask Batman, "Hey, what are you doing?" He's not going to answer you every time. He's going to be like, "Dude, I have a reasoning for doing
It's
this.
like, I'm Batman.
I'm Batman.
Get out of here."
I've got stuff to do. I'm not just like your average cop."
I felt like he played the Batman so well that, like, you obviously knew it was a Batman. Anytime he was in suit, it was the Batman, no question about it. And I also think exclusively Robert Pattinson's acting shined a lot through Bruce Wayne. When he was Bruce Wayne, it was this awkward, this unconfident, person that still had the limelight and everything like that. And there was at times during the movie, I was like, he was almost so awkward. I was like, does this dude know like he's on screen right now?
Yeah.
Like is this, then I was like, oh wait, like this is actually what, this character would be like, like this socially disconnected type of person, and like I think Robert Pattinson played that so well. Like it fooled me.
Yeah.
A couple
Something
times,
though
too.
that kind of made me almost not like it was that he almost gave himself away a little bit. It's like come on, man, you need to change your characteristics a little bit because people are gonna find you out.
Yeah.
Like you're walking around real awkward, not talking. You kind of look like Batman, you need to play it a little.
That's
chill.
why I love like how realistic it is, because he is still learning. Like he can't balance both yet. And I think
Because he's Batman 24/7.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's what we're gonna see. Hopefully, we get more than just a trilogy. We'll see that growth to where he can actually be the Batman that we all know from previous iterations, and also be that Bruce Wayne that he kind of needs to be to help Gotham in a different limelight.
That's probably what they're doing. Probably leaving room.
Yeah.
I think Robert Pattinson portrays such a good and actually smart Batman. Like almost like extreme intellect, extreme sort of introverted sort of genius, able to solve riddles, obviously, and able to put two and two together, but also be really good with the person that matters. Gordon.
Yeah.
It's very important. He has that one person on the inside. He doesn't need to make friends with everybody. That's why it's so realistic. All the cops think he's a weird guy, and he is, and that's why he has one person to help him.
And so with Gordon, I really like what they did with Gordon because he had a part in this movie. He was there with Batman. It's almost like
They were partners.
Yeah, partners.
Yeah.
Almost like a good cop, bad cop. Even though, even Gordon didn't mind pulling some strings, and I just think it was great how he had a part in hand in everything that went down.
Yeah, Jeffrey Wright did a great job just being a good, obviously an integral part of the movie, but a good sidekick to Batman. He complimented everything
Really
Batman did. So.
Jeffrey Wright's a great actor too.
Phenomenal.
Yeah. I noticed that too. The whole time I was like, man, I'm not even like questioning this guy's like acting or anything like that. I think he did. I think he did great. I knew who he was playing, and I didn't have to question it.
I didn't even see Jeffrey Wright. I honestly saw Gordon. Like I
Yeah.
didn't like. I know it's Jeffrey Wright, but like I was so bought in that this guy is Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was awesome.
And he's just a detective in this movie. He's not commissioner yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna build up on his character throughout.
Yeah,
the,
probably. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. They're leaving space for that character.
Mhm.
Are there any other actors or characters that stood out to y'all in particular, or any that kind of failed to meet your expectations that were on the cast?
The Riddler is probably gonna be a hot take. I mean, he did a good job, but I don't think it was as iconic as, say, Colin Farrell's Penguin, like, will go down as. Like, he was a great Riddler, and it fit as, like, someone that would do that in a real-world setting. But at the same time, it didn't have that iconicness that's, like, gonna resonate with me 5 years from now, where I'm gonna be like, oh, that dude was the Riddler, like how Heath Ledger is the Joker, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he kind of seemed a little whiny at times with stuff. Like, I understood his, like, motivations, but I don't know, it just didn't, I couldn't buy into him as, a true villain. I don't know what y'all thought, but yeah.
So I had like a love-hate relationship because I love how they brought the Riddler in, and they gave him that Zodiac vibe, because Zodiac is a real killer, so they definitely brought in real-world stuff. And but at the same time, it's like he was playing the same character as he did in Prisoners.
Yeah.
If y'all haven't seen Prisoners, I gotta go watch that. And also, I don't know if y'all seen this, but Dirty Harry with Clint Eastwood. Have y'all seen that movie?
No.
If you watch Dirty Harry, it's based off of, it was inspired by Zodiac, because Dirty Harry came out in 1971, and Zodiac had his killing in the 60s, so that inspired that movie. In that movie, the villain, the guy who resembles the Zodiac, they're almost the same guy. That whiny, kind of young, weird white kid, just has super weird issues. I want to say that the actor probably went and saw that movie and was like, I'm gonna do what he did in that movie.
Yeah.
So if y'all haven't seen Dirty Harry, y'all should go watch that so y'all know what I'm talking about. But I can definitely see some things he could have taken from that. But yeah, I liked the riddles, you know, how he's insane, but when he did the whining, it kind of took me out of the movie. I was like,
You're talking about like
It was, like, a little too
towards
thick.
the end of it, like
Yeah,
when
when
it
he's
was
in
in
the
when he's in
yeah,
the cell,
yeah.
it was a little thick for me. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
let's
that
tone
was-
it down.
that was a little unexpected. What about you, Ollie? What do you think of the main villain?
I think the main villain, it's pretty much what Doobie and Fawn said. It's a lot like Prisoners, the film from, I think it was 2014 or something like
Yeah,
that.
13 maybe.
He's very awkward, but at the same time, Riddler, to me, is supposed to personify this, like, extremely intelligent person who can be big and, I guess, verbose at certain times and be loud, but I never really considered him, like, the weirdest freak when
Right.
he was, and that's kind of what they portrayed in this movie. I think that's what they were going for, but I definitely think he did a good job, but just definitely different than what I would have expected. I do like that Carmine Falcone, John Turturro played him. He was so good at being a mob boss.
Yeah.
that's
It
what
was
I was
weird
like,
seeing him,
He's
like,
like a smart ass kinda. He's like constantly like questioning other people. He was so good at manipulating Bruce Wayne. He was good at manipulating Zoe Kravitz's Catwoman. He was just a good mob boss. They're always in deceit, always lying, always trying to get to the next portion that benefits them. You know?
Yeah.
I thought he was gonna honestly take me out of the movie because you mentioned earlier like how he's used to being in comedies and
Yeah.
whatnot. I was like, oh no, this dude's just gonna
Right.
kind of ruin like that mob scene
Yeah.
in Batman. But it was the complete opposite. I agree with everything you said, Ollie. He was perfect.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna have these one-liners and be funny, but he was a different character. He wasn't funny. He was, a villain, and he played it.
I think that's what made him scary because remember the scene where he's being recorded on the phone without knowing, and he
Uh,
kills Catwoman's roommate, the Russian girl.
Monica.
Yeah, he plays good at being calm, but then you're also a mob boss, so you're used to murdering. You're used to doing very wild, very heinous crimes, and I think he did a great job at that. You know, and then he tried choking Catwoman the same way.
He controlled every scene that he was in.
Yep.
Dude, when he whacked her with that fucking pool stick, dude,
Yeah.
I was like, I fucking felt
was
that
bad.
shit. I was
It was
like,
bad.
bro, she
It was
was not
bad.
expecting it.
Zoe Kravitz getting hit with the pool stick. What'd y'all think of her as Catwoman?
Man, I think she executed well, honestly. To be truthful, I wasn't blown away by the performance necessarily. I think she herself did well acting as Catwoman. I don't think the movie gave her many opportunities to be highlighted
I agree
or
with
to
that.
show. Like when she was like put in that position, I think Zoe Kravitz did a phenomenal job. Very well done. But I think some of the scenes that she was significant in were just kind of like foggy and like just almost unnecessary. The motorcycle scene at the end was like,
Yeah.
why, you know?
well, it's almost like they gave her own separate story. Because for her, she was
Yeah.
like, hey, I'm just worried about my friend. And that was her own separate little plot. It's like they tried to just put that in there. Her herself, I thought she did great. I thought everyone, I'm not complaining about the acting at all. I thought everyone was on point. But as far as her story in this, I wish they could have done something a little better.
I'm glad they show the dysfunction of her life, though.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yeah.
the fact that she's a criminal,
Mhm.
she's always involved with the wrong people, and it's hard to get your shit on the ball when you're in that life, you know. And her being able, and the fact that Carmine Falcone's daughter, think about that. You're gonna be tied into that life, and she can only take the opportunities they give her as the director or whatever, you know. So I think she did a pretty good job.
100%. I'd be interested to see her scenes specifically that were like cut from the movie for whatever reason. You know, I'd be curious to see like what those looked like as well. I really did, and I didn't even notice until y'all like brought it up. Like it showed more of her origin story. Like in the Nolan series, for instance, like you don't.
She just shows up.
Yeah, you just it's Catwoman, and you're like, okay, well I know who this is, but like you got a glimpse at Celine Kyle for once, and I didn't even like, you know, I really knew nothing about her or anything, but I mean, the action shots were great, her tactics and all were great. It showed, like you said, Ollie, it showed a look into like her personal life and everything like that. So
She's definitely a badass fighting.
Yeah, I hope
you
she
know?
shows up in future
Yeah.
stuff with like in this world because she's just a cool character
Yep.
to see.
Yep.
yeah. What were y'all expecting of the Penguin?
He was a good mob character too. Look, let's be honest. You know, mob characters, think about where they come from, right? They come from these big families that are constantly joking with each other, and he played the role. He was obviously a criminal, but he's a funny guy, so he's gonna make jokes about everything. You know,
I think they showed that in the trailer when he's with Batman. Ho ho, sweetheart. You know, he had that mob.
What is this? Good cop, bad cop?
Yeah,
Y'all
yeah,
are tearing
yeah,
that
yeah,
shit
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit cop.
Yeah.
That shit cop.
Yeah, it's funny on that note too, because I felt like in that particular scene, Gordon was actually like the bad cop, and Batman was being like the more reasonable and everything. I was surprised in their first interaction, like how comfortable and calm the Penguin was with Batman. Like Batman was up there like looking for shit, and like he was like, "Yeah, if you need anything else, like just let me know." Like while Batman was walking out, I was like, "This dude's not scared of this man in like a mega suit, like all up in him."
He was in the movie a lot more than I was expecting too. Because I remember when the movies, like when they were filming everything, it was just reported that he might have like 5 minutes of screen time, which he might have, like going back. But he was placed throughout the story. Like I think for the first 2 acts, like he was an integral part, kind of to like solving the crime. Like he was in the loop of things. Like Batman had to continue to go back to him to get more information. And I thought it was really well.
And the
how
fact that it's
it was
Collin
there.
Farrell,
I
you
know.
can't even
That's-
tell. That's how you know it's a good performance. Think of all the Collin Farrell films we've seen that are in the spotlight, right? Collin Farrell as Alexander, Collin Farrell,
Booth.
phone booth.
Because when you see him without the makeup, he's a good-looking guy, toned.
I couldn't even really hear Colin Farrell in voice.
Not
either.
at all, man. Not
Maybe
at
like
all.
certain words, I was like, oh, I can kind of see it, but it was 100% Penguin.
Yep.
Something like off left field that I really like. He wasn't surrounded by his henchmen and goons.
He wasn't
all the
the
time.
mob boss.
He was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a capo. He's like
Yeah.
a captain.
He's
you
like
know?
the right hand
Yeah.
man to Carmine.
Yeah.
It was really cool to see how, like, it is kind of an origin story for his character to become the mob boss that Penguin usually is in like the comics and whatnot. I really liked how he's been around for a while, but he's still not the like he's the Penguin, but he's not the Penguin yet.
Mhm.
And I loved how all the characters, like, they felt like they've been around for 20 plus
Yep.
years doing
Yep.
this already.
Mhm.
And that they're not just jumping into the scene because Batman's like Batman now, you know, like they've been around before Batman.
It's so realistic.
Yeah.
The Batman and this rendition of Batman has to be the most realistic one.
Oh.
Well,
100. I definitely.
something
agree.
I'm curious about is, so it's kind of like the 1920s bank robbers where you had Babyface Nelson, or they had all these nicknames, and that's he's Penguin. But are they gonna add something to him to why they call him Penguin? Like in the comics, he looks like a penguin, but in this, it's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
I guess
it's
we'll
just,
find
yeah.
They're doing an HBO Max series. So I guess
Well,
we'll find
guys,
out.
look at
Yeah.
what happened in the scene where he's tied
Tied
up.
up,
He's
yeah, that's
walking like a
exactly-
penguin.
yeah.
And that's what
Like,
you're gonna leave me here. Like very much like Penguin model and everything.
And Penguin, maybe by the way he would be dressed at certain events and like all dressed up to the T in a nice tux with that white and black kind of.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what his role is gonna be going forward. If he's gonna go to one side and or the other. I mean, you obviously can't expect him to side with Batman and the good guys, but I'm curious to where that kind of meter is going for his
Yeah.
character. I really like they left that very open.
Hopefully that's what his show kind of touches on and builds him up to become the mob boss that he's kind of.
So
into.
he's getting his own HBO series.
Mhm,
Okay. It's just the Penguin.
Yeah, it's gonna be a Penguin series.
Okay.
Yeah, I heard they're
Yeah.
doing also like it's the cops.
Yeah, Gotham PD, but Matt Reeves said that he wants it to focus on Arkham. Like it'll probably be like an Arkham Asylum series, but it'll focus on the corruptness of cops and whatnot. So
I felt like we didn't get much of him, but Alfred Pennyworth, Andy Serkis, what's going on with him?
dude, I thought he was a cool freaking Alfred
Yeah.
because he touched on like I've trained you to fight and how he was just
Yeah.
helping solve these riddles like in the background. Like he wasn't just like Michael Caine Butler like crying when he went on vacation drinking a burning frame or whatever it was. And it's like he's involved like in the Batman work, not just there to like help build stuff or whatever. Like he's actually there to help solve whatever crime Batman's working on.
Right.
Man, it's a new take on Alfred that we kind of got a glimpse of with Zack Snyder in Batman vs Superman. Like Jeremy Irons was like helping build some like Cavill stuff, and I think this Alfred is similar to that, but we're gonna see a lot more of how Alfred really works with Batman and not just like for Batman.
Yeah.
Out of all the characters, he's probably he was only what 5 minutes. I mean, that's what it felt like. He was
Give or
only in the
take,
for like 5
yeah.
minutes.
Well, they didn't really give him the only opportunity with really serious acting was after he gets into the accident.
Yeah.
Right.
When Riddler's trying to kill the Batman, right? And he opens the package. But you can see Andy Serkis as Alfred. He really loves Batman and he wants the best and he wants to be around him and make sure he does the right thing, stays on the right path. So
But he's also like
that's a good Alfred. you
yeah,
know?
and he's also like a hard ass, and you could tell. And I know like in the comics and in certain like canon, Alfred Pennyworth is like comes from the British intelligence service and all, and you could see through solving the riddles and all that. Like
He has experience, kind of.
Yeah, and he's hard and tough, not like you said, like Michael Caine.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, this character he actually
"Good
had
for
a
you."
Did y'all
7
see
years.
that?
7 years I'm on here.
Did y'all see the scar he had? Andy Serkis?
Probably.
Yeah, it was like on his eyebrow. So like it's definitely
Yeah,
an
yeah,
edgier Alfred.
Edgier Alfred.
Because he's been
is
training.
good.
This Alfred has been training Batman
Yeah.
since he was a
He
kid.
trained
Yeah.
to fight different styles.
Different styles. And that's a good gritty Alfred that we kind of need to see. Something that's very different, not just a butler.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all got this vibe, but I didn't get the vibe that this Alfred was a butler. I got the vibe that he was the head of security for Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
But like he was so closely knit with the Wayne family that he left Bruce to be his responsibility, and that whatever the chick was, like she kind of is like the maid of like Wayne Manor or whatever.
Yeah.
That's the vibe that I got, and then the scene where Alfred was opening that package, like my jaw freaking dropped. I was
I
like,
thought
"You're
they-
not gonna kill Alfred."
I was like, you can't.
in the first freaking movie of this like new Batman. That's
Yeah, I thought they were about to do it, man.
Great, bro.
Dude, as soon as I would have seen Fireproof, I would have tossed that
Yeah.
package.
Dude, as soon as I went and saw like to the Batman, like bro's been solving these riddles. He knows what these envelopes
Yeah.
look like.
Yeah.
Like you know that's from the Riddler. Like
Mhm.
also you shouldn't be opening up other people's mail.
Yeah, that's what you get.
It's like, what you doing, Alfred?
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, that's a
Or maybe-
federal offense, Alfred. You can do that.
Dude, maybe the Riddler knew that Alfred
That's
was going to
probably-
open his mail.
probably
I thought about that. I thought about that a little.
I just didn't like how they executed because the first victim Riddler had, he hit him over the head. The second one, he had this rat cage,
Yeah.
and then it's like, oh, Bruce Wayne, this guy who's affected my life. I'm just gonna send him some
Send
mail.
him a bomb.
Here's a box.
Not even a big bomb, dude. Like
Yeah.
Alfred. I mean, I know Alfred like tossed that thing before it
Like
actually
2 feet
exploded.
over.
Yeah, but like that thing did not explode that
Yeah,
much.
But
and, like,
realistic for a package bomb, though.
very true, very
Yeah.
true. But also, if you're trying to kill, I mean, I guess like.
But
alright,
didn't
like,
he say C4 in the film, though?
It was they
Wasn't
specifically
okay, so
said
C4 would have destroyed that whole. It probably would
That
have
whole
destroyed
room.
the whole.
And also, but I mean, like, I could see how you're like a Gothamite, you're like Bruce Wayne, like that particular Bruce Wayne, pathetic, kind of wimpy,
Yeah.
like you probably don't need
spoiled
much,
rich kid.
probably don't need much to kill him and everything.
Yeah.
Like that. But like, also like, come on, Riddler, like you got all these, you can make a better bomb.
Yeah, you can do something.
I like the dichotomy of this Riddler in terms of him always keeping his glasses on too, because it's like the only thing that ties himself as Edward Nygma to the Riddler is those glasses. He's seeing through. I don't know. I thought it was like cool symbolism of what he was doing, but
What is his last name?
I think it's Nashton in this movie.
yeah, Edward Nash did his
Edward
but he had
Nash
all
did.
those IDs
Yeah.
that were so.
Yeah.
Typically, it's Edward Nygma or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's how it was in
Nash
Batman
did-
Forever,
Yeah, because
yeah.
Enigma. This was an amazing Batman because it wasn't a Batman film. And
Yeah.
The way they were able this is I'm trying to think of like a movie to compare it to, like a Star Wars or God forbid like the Matrix Resurrection, like copy and paste the first episode,
Yeah.
make the first half 3/4 that. This one like did not cut from like the Nolan series.
Yeah.
Like it took from all the Batmans, Batman Beyond, Batman Begins, Year One, like all the
Like, it wasn't a
comics and
soft
everything like
reboot.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't a soft reboot, which like
It's its
you
own
could
thing.
totally expect with this day and
Yeah.
age, man, with like the way movies and TV shows are being pumped out. It's like, hey, what's that really popular series from like 10, 20 years ago? Yeah, let's reboot that.
Yeah.
Dude, this did an excellent job at making its own story and
Did-
everything like that.
Were there any movies that y'all have seen previously that like it really reminded y'all of? Because I got a bunch of that, like certain
Seven.
parts of it. Seven,
Felt a lot
right?
like Seven.
So Seven by David Fincher.
The,
You know,
the one I said,
Yeah.
Dirty Harry.
Yep.
Was-
Me, the most like vibe I got from like Robert Pattinson as Batman narrating the story reminded me so much of that movie Watchmen
Yes.
with Rorschach
Yeah.
narrating the whole story.
And then obviously Zodiac.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
definitely.
Scenes that stuck out to y'all, aspects of the cinematography, the music. What do y'all have on that?
I love Batman's intro, like that very first scene where like you just hearing the footsteps.
Somebody said it sounded like he's wearing Spurs.
Boba Fett.
Dude, what if he wasn't? It's like little Batman, like the little bat symbols. That's the batarangs.
Yeah. No,
But
you
anyways,
see how he's walking and stuff, you're like,
he's dipping and stuff. But yeah, I love the whole intro. Him literally walking out the shadows and like everybody's like stopping. What is that noise?
Yeah.
And then he just comes in and wrecks everybody.
bro, I thought he was about to.
Like
Bust
he's
that
literally
first-
beating them to like an inch from death.
That
like,
first guy got it so bad.
Oh, yeah.
It was a great intro, but the only thing that kind of like threw me off was, and I told you about this, was there was a montage right before that where it's like, everyone's scared of me. They're scared of the shadows. And it shows his light, and everyone looks at the light like, oh shoot, Batman's out tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then this dude's like, yo, who the hell are you?
Yeah.
Dude, did you not hear the intro? I'm Batman, I'm here to beat some ass.
The only defense of that I will say is that the fact that it was Halloween night. So there's a lot of there's a lot of people dressed as like
Batman's probably like a myth as well, and like not everybody like has seen what he looks like. So he's like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah,
You
second
know?
year Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely, I wouldn't say it though, because you'd know right away that it's Batman.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You'd be like, even if you weren't scared, you'd be like, okay.
But think about it for us. If we were in the city and that we just hear that there's some vigilante for 2 years, and we're like,
we've never
what
seen
the hell is this
Yeah.
guy? Like,
I love that the guy had his face painted, half of it.
Yeah, half painted.
He's like, should I make the
and
decision?
he was the only one that was like on the fence. Like,
Yeah,
do I want to do this?
it was like
or not?
symbolism.
He was being
Yeah.
initiated.
My favorite scene, and y'all were talking about this earlier, was the first Batmobile entrance doing when he chases Penguin. Because y'all were saying earlier that he stalled it.
Yeah.
I thought he was, because I was talking to you because we saw it together. That was me like, oh, this is a young Batman and he wants to chase. So he was like,
Yeah, I think
It's
he
like,
was kind
come
of
on,
egging him on.
it's
Like,
like,
I
come
want
on.
you to get,
I
I'm
got
giving you a
you.
head start.
Yeah,
Like,
I want you to
I'm gonna
run.
catch you.
I want you to get in that car. Let's do this. Like,
That's what I got from
Or
it.
Yeah.
just sped up. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and try to fight all y'all. Like, I'm gonna separate y'all from the group and chase y'all in this car.
yeah. And it was a great car
Yeah.
chase. It was realistic. It
such
felt
a
I was on
Yeah.
the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
It was
Oh my gosh.
awesome.
The sound in this movie
I
was
yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
All the dialogue was good, surprisingly, right? Because usually in a lot of theater movies, you can't really hear dialogue, especially in a scene like a car chase. You can't hear what somebody's saying.
Especially when Batman is whispering, but yet you could still hear him.
You
Like,
could
it's very
hear-
clear.
Yep.
A lot of car chase scenes to me kind of feel like clunky, where it's like I get lost in like what's happening because there's so many cuts. I didn't get that from this.
Yep.
I was like, I'm able to follow exactly where they're going and like kind of what Batman and Penguin were trying to do the whole time, and I loved it.
I will disagree on that. I did kind of get lost right before the ramp scene through the fire and everything. Like when they got on the interstate, and obviously they were going against traffic and then got into traffic. I think that was a combination of like that was probably about the halfway point of the movie where like I started checking in and be like, all right, like where are we at in the movie? And there was like so much going on. Personally, I got lost for a second and everything in that. But I think overall, I mean, it was great. And obviously, like, the ramp scene flying through the Penguin, like laughing back. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I mean,
It was badass.
Yeah.
another scene that was really cool was that funeral scene, right? So Batman, he first comes in and instantly greeted by the mayor, and she's not like everybody else who's like obsessed with Bruce Wayne in terms of, oh, he's out of here. She's like, you could be doing so much more for the city, because that's her job as the mayor, is like, what can we do for the city? So, but in terms of, I loved in the scene how well connected Bruce Wayne was with the mayor who died from the Riddler's son. Every single time he interacted with him, he It was like he was looking at himself,
Yeah.
you know, and I love
You
that.
could feel the empathy in his
Yeah,
face.
Yeah,
the the connection was like instantaneously there.
Yeah.
And everything.
exactly.
I really liked the funeral scene for a lot of reasons. One, because it was the first time you saw Bruce Wayne in public. You saw like Bruce Wayne, like Falcone and like Penguin instantly recognized and respected him. You know, like the guards were like, "Oh, stop! Like, who are you?" And they're like, "You don't know who that is," and everything like that.
Yeah, I forgot. So Falcone, they knew each other, and that like Bruce Wayne had a connection. That's the first time Bruce Wayne's had connections, kind of like with the mob.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very unique.
Yeah, and that's what unique. That's what I like. Do y'all remember when Bruce looked up at the guy in the balcony when everybody was evacuating?
Yeah.
What'd y'all think? Who'd y'all think that was?
The Riddler.
I think it was the Riddler.
I think 100%.
Because something you mentioned, that's the first time we see Bruce Wayne in public. And it's also the first time we see the Riddler in public. So I think maybe that was some symbolism.
And he literally said that before the funeral. He
that's
said
the
the
whole
reason I'm
reason
going
he's
to
doing
the funeral is because
I forgot
serial
about that. That's
serial
right.
killers will go to funerals
true.
of just
Oh,
to
to
get that.
follow up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
Then that goes
sort of
back to what
rise.
we were saying. He's always Batman. There's
Yeah.
a reason
Yeah.
why
Oh.
he's not being a Bruce Wayne. He's always
Imagine, because like he's Batman, right? So he has to fight crime, but he's still gotta feel fear. So when people are like, "Oh, Bruce Wayne, what's up?" He's like, he just looks at him because he's thinking about everything that's about to happen or could possibly.
yeah. Because when he walks in,
It's
there's
just
the guy.
realistic, man.
Yeah.
Remember the guy? He tried to sneak in, and he's like, "Oh shoot, is that him?"
Yeah.
And he kind of like,
Yeah.
but then he ushers off, and then he walks a little bit more, and then the other guy's like yelling. He's looking at him. You know, he's literally he's
you
looking.
can feel his
Yeah.
anxiety of like, I'm here for a reason. I'm not just here to pay respect.
You can tell that like he's clocking everything. Like he's keeping track. Which is cool.
Touching on the interview scene, the interrogation scene with the Riddler, do y'all think that the Riddler knew who Batman was? Because they obviously, as soon as the Riddler talked in like the third person, like, oh, like we didn't get him, and then you instantly see the relief on Batman's face and whole body, that he's like, oh, maybe he doesn't know who I am. Do y'all think?
Yeah, he definitely changed that.
I think he knows and he wants to hold it against Batman so that way he can keep playing games with him.
I don't think he does know because he freaks out when he finds out Batman's not on his side, and so yeah, it confused me a little bit because like I obviously we were talking about Batman's looking at the camera like shoot it's all over.
It's gonna take multiple viewings to really get a
Right.
good consensus for me.
Something I want to mention. This isn't necessarily a scene, just overall story. This is just something I noticed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think Batman saves a single person from the Riddler. Every victim, the Riddler got him. And at the end, when the mayor gets shot, Batman didn't have any part in that. He didn't, jump in front of the bullet. The only reason why the mayor didn't die, she got shot in the gut, was because he was a bad shot.
Yeah.
Like, the Batman literally, I don't know if there's like some kind of symbolism in this, but like he literally he didn't stop the Riddler.
Well, that's why the Riddler was so entranced with him, because he felt like, in a weird way, he was working with the Batman.
That's
That
why
was
he
the
out to the light.
the interrogation scene at Arkham where like they're talking and it's like you can see how psychotic this Riddler was, how he was so twisted,
Yeah,
how
he
he
did
believes that they were
excellent,
partners, and then
Because he thinks he's the good guy.
exactly, and then at the same time he keeps bringing up Bruce Wayne. You see Batman like look at the camera and he's like, "Shit, he's about to expose me." Like,
yeah.
like you can feel the anxiety that he's starting to feel, and he's like, "You need to change the subject right now."
But to get deeper into it, so this Batman, he's only been Batman for 2 years. And what has he done in that 2 years? He's just been battling low criminals. And he even says to himself, am I even making a difference?
Yeah.
Crime is going up.
Yeah.
Here, though, you have the Riddler, who's supposed to be the bad guy, but yet he's taking out high crime. He's the one eliminating high crime. So it's like you question yourself. And I think Batman realized this. He's like, Riddler did more than I did. And then for the fact that Batman didn't even catch the Riddler. The Riddler was just chilling in the shop, and an anonymous call came, and the cops went and got him. So it's like, how much did Batman actually do as far as the Riddler goes? I just thought that was really a cool concept. How
Yep.
I don't know,
It's just a work in progress.
Yeah,
man.
I think I
Work
think
in
the story's
progress.
purpose was Batman to kind of quote unquote fail with the Riddler in order for him to become the
Right.
Batman that Gotham needs. You know, with
Yeah.
all the flooding and
I see
everything, like he kind of realizes at the end with the flooding how he's saving all the people and then carrying that kid or woman on top of the arena, like he's starting to realize like I'm like this is the Batman that I'm supposed to be.
Right,
I'm
he
not
can
supposed
do
to be
more. Yeah.
intimidating from the shadows. I'm meant to be the icon of hope for this city, and I think going forward we're going to see that version of Batman where he'll actually be able to defeat a villain and not fail and then grow from those ashes like a phoenix. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
we gotta talk about that joke scene.
Yeah.
Sam, what'd you think of it?
Oh man. I hate to say it, but not really, because being honest, that was one major weak point of this entire movie for me, honestly. Two things mainly, maybe even three. One, right off the bat, old boy needs to work on that laugh. Straight up, all due respect, Barry Keaton, work on that laugh, man. If you're watching this, start now, you'll be good. I have faith in you, alright? I think this is a pretty unanimous opinion. Should have been a post-credit scene. I think everybody was expecting it to be a post-credit scene. For them to throw it at that spot in the movie in particular, it felt weird, it felt off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't needed. Post credit scene. That's all it should have been.
Only
Post-credit
place
scene.
it could have worked is post credit or at the very end.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah, just
Like
that's
the
it.
ending scene,
Literally
kinda,
the
yeah.
ending movie scene.
I agree on
Where it was in the film was like a weak point to me.
It like pumped on the brakes. It's like whoa, 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 whoa. We want to tease this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
Yeah, hey, in case y'all didn't know, like, bro, anybody who's like familiar with Batman in any sort of sense knows what this is. Also, like, I was disappointed that, like, alright, everybody knows Joker's the arch nemesis of Batman, like, the one. You know whose shoulders you're riding on. Not talking about, like, Joaquin Phoenix or
Yeah.
Jared Leto. You know what the expectations are. If you're gonna do that laugh and you're gonna put that scene in like an inappropriate spot in the movie, you know what people are expecting. I think, flat out, I think that was bad direction, bad production.
I really didn't think it was necessary to not only the story, but we don't need a Joker right now. Like
don't.
There's so many.
we
other
were
characters.
focused. There's so like you had Carmine, the Penguin, Catwoman, the Riddler. You had so many characters that you developed, and you didn't need to tease this one guy that you're probably not even going to use in the next movie anyway.
Yeah.
Like, so honestly, what was the purpose of it? And it removed me from the overall story that we just watched for 3 hours. Like, it removed me completely. And like, we just had Joaquin Phoenix's Joker movie a couple years ago. I need a break between Jokers. Like, I don't need a Joker right now. I don't
Yeah.
need it for the next movie. Like,
You say we don't need another Joker right now. What's gonna happen in the next series? Obviously, they're not gonna stop the Batman series at this one. What are the possibilities for the following Batman?
for me, Matt Reeves, I mean, he kind of teased that he would love to do a Mr. Freeze, and I hope to God that they do, because the way it ended, Batman said it's November 6th. You know, it's about to go straight into wintertime. That water's going to get cold, it's going to freeze.
City's underwater.
Pick the sequel right up where this
That
one
would
left
be so
off.
cool,
Bring in Mr. Freeze.
Give
you
us
have,
a Mr.
like,
Freeze,
Ice
please.
Age of Gotham.
man.
That was a good point, Fonzie. Like, I didn't even catch that he said, like, it's November 7th and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. So, like, they're literally
Dude,
going right into
that was-
wintertime.
That was it.
Not to like keep going, but I think you have to have Harvey Dent in the next one because Gil Coulson's dead. He was the DA. Gotham needs a DA now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is a great time to bring in a young Harvey Dent that is like toe to toe with Batman as far as like age.
I want to see him as Harvey Dent though. Maybe save the Two-Face.
Well, that's
maybe.
what I was
Yeah,
saying.
exactly.
Maybe
Yeah.
have
Just
almost
Harvey
the whole
Dent.
film.
Just Harvey
Yeah,
Dent.
just-
And I also think Bane, they kind of tease like sort of like a Venom sort of thing when he injects himself when he's like on death's door pretty much. He injects himself in the leg to fight that last guy. I don't know, man.
And the fact that you could catch a bit of like
Rage.
aggression, rage from that too. Yeah. What about do you think there's any follow up to this movie in particular? Like anybody thinks you see?
I think Matt Reeves did a great job at just teasing little things that could make people think, and I think in the next film it's just gonna blow everyone's mind. We weren't expecting that, possibly.
Yeah.
You know.
I agree.
Yeah, very good.
I agree.
All right, guys. So wrapping it up here, we got the Bob scale. What are we giving it?
I'm gonna give it pretty much in between extra buttery and buttery. I thought it was amazing.
Word.
I'll have to agree with that. I was thinking maybe a little original to buttery, but nah, I'll bump it up because it was just so unique. They went their own route. They didn't try to copy and paste, and I just respect that a lot. It felt fresh.
Same. After talking to you guys and just getting new opinions with everything, I definitely would give this one buttery.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. A good buttery, pushing towards extra buttery for me. Again, great movie. Great superhero Batman movie. Overall, definitely go watch it. Go watch it.
Watch that shit.
All right, everybody. That was our review of The Batman. Like, subscribe, comment what you thought about it. What do you think about the movie? What are some of your points? And what movies do you want to see us review in the future? Let us know. For now, that's all. Thank you.